Hello and welcome to my podcast. Do me a favor, subscribe to the John Keim Report wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You can find us there as part of Ampire Media, Ampire. Always much appreciated when you tune in. Don't forget you can read my work on ESPN.com. So in a minute, I'll get to three thoughts on Jayden Daniels, but I also want to talk about the uniforms, and I'll get to that in a minute as well. A couple little housekeeping items here. First, for you club members, I've been doing a series throughout the summer talking about some of the players I've covered in the past: Sean Taylor, Bruce Smith, RG3. So if you want to be, if you haven't been listening to that, give that a listen for you club members. If you want to become a club member, go to the Empire Media YouTube page, see the word, go on your laptop, by the way, see the word join, click on that, go from there. I've told you before, like you gold members, I will be getting back to doing those private Zooms soon after training camp begins. And then during the season, I will be doing private chats for certain club members about 2.5 hours before the game, about 15 minutes, get your questions in, just get the vibe from the stadium, etc. So we'll be doing that during the season, something new. So anyways, there you go. Now, the other part is, if Huel is back as a sponsor this week. So I'm a fan of their Black Edition for a couple reasons. It's 40 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals. This is a meal, a drink that's a meal, folks. When I'm in a hurry, I just don't feel like making a big breakfast. That's what I turn to, and I feel good. It costs less than $3 a bottle, and again, you're getting a meal. My favorite is the strawberry banana and the chocolate. So new customers, by the way, get 15% off at huel-DOT-com, huel.com, when you use my code Keim, Keim. Again, 15% off for new customers using my exclusive code Keim at huel.com. See the description for terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition. All right, folks, let's get to the big news of the day. So today is Wednesday. I'm taping this on Wednesday. You've probably seen the alternate jerseys, right? The throwback jerseys, and they are indeed throwback jerseys. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the jerseys here. So just really clean look, but it's the look they needed to have. And it's the look they should have never gone away from when they changed the name. And I think if they had stuck with these jerseys or this look, they would have at least warded off maybe some issues. I know people would have been upset about the name anyways, but at least you would have felt like you're watching the same franchise. And I've told you before, I'm a Cleveland Indians fan, now Guardians. When they changed their name, they did not change their look. And as a fan, it helped soften the blow for me as a fan. So when I remember tuning in on opening day, they looked the same because the script was the same, the colors are the same, the jerseys are the same, there's a C on the cap. The first game with the Commanders, it felt like you were watching a new team. And I know that became, to me, a harsh thing for fans, I'm sure, because it was for me. So now I know that I remember talking to people at the time and even now about that who were involved in the process or knew a lot about the process. Just they kind of felt, because of all the pressure on them, felt like maybe they had to go in a different, slightly upgrade or updated look. But again, it was just too much. And there are definitely people here who were around at that time, definitely involved in the decision, who understood that they went too far and that the best look was the former look. Because when they were the Washington football team, personally, I felt like I was still watching the same team, right? Same franchise. But when they went to the different colors, there was a different shade of burgundy. It looked more like the Cardinals. Not a good look. This is the look. So you can always, with one thing I know with Josh Harris, they are definitely embracing the past. And in the last few years under Snyder, they kind of were trying to distance themselves a little bit because of for a variety of reasons, folks. This group is embracing it. Doesn't mean anything's coming back. Doesn't mean the logo's coming back. The W's still in the helmet. No plans to do anything like that. But the uniforms, the jerseys, could be the ones eventually that become their permanent ones. We don't know yet. They're still determining that. It's certainly a discussion, and they will be used for 3 games this year. Sunday night game against Seattle, Sunday night game against Denver, and then the Christmas game against Dallas. So great look. And again, if you're seeing it, I don't have to describe it to you because it's their former look. It's the look they used that they had when they won all those Super Bowls. That's what it should have been all along. And I'm hoping that people, when they watch them this year, you feel like you're watching a familiar friend, right? So I think, but it starts with this, and I think you can credit Josh Harris. This is what he's wanted. you go, it's funny because you go on Zach Selby for Commanders.com, had a story, and they had all these pictures in there, and a lot of the pictures were throwbacks to John Riggins, to Redskin stuff. So they are not running away from that. Doesn't mean they're going back to any of that, but they're not running away from it. They are embracing it, and this is one way they can do it. So again, now to become a permanent fixture, they have to go to the league and asked for to do that. Typically it's a year when you do that. I know when there's a new ownership group, first of all, you can't rebrand. If you rebrand once, you can't rebrand for another 5 years. There is a waiver or a special exemption for a new ownership group, which of course this is. So we'll see where it goes. It's a good look, and I think it's a necessary look. So hope you enjoy it. And there we go, because it was not a good look the last couple of years. Just anyways, there we go. All right, so back to now Jayden Daniels, and I'm tired of the comparison. So here's why. One, he's not RG3. And I bring that up, and I think you guys know that, but I bring it up because of what something Cam Newton was talking about in his own podcast and almost anticipating a sophomore slump for Daniels because that's what basically, in a nutshell, because that's what happened with RG3. Well, Griffin didn't have necessarily a sophomore slump. There are a lot of things that went into that. But secondly, they're very different players, and I've never ever liked that comparison. To me, there's a lazy comparison between the two, and it is lazy because they are different players. Yes, they both run. Yes, they were number two picks. Yes, they both won the Heisman. They are different quarterbacks. They're different people, very different. I've covered both. They're very different, and you know, good, bad, or indifferent, they're just very different. So the comparisons with that and looking back at his year and then look and applying it to what Jayden Daniels did last year and then could do this year, it's not the way to go. And I think that's why I bring it up. And there's a seismic difference. And Daniels to me, in talking to coaches and talking to players about both, has embraced the process of playing quarterback in the NFL more than what more than Robert. And now it's not like Robert didn't work. He did. It's just that the areas that Daniels focuses on, according to teammates and coaches and people who know both, it's different. It's on the process. It's on the film. Robert also had to rehab his first offseason. So that clearly took away some development for him. And, in addition to a fissure that was developing between he and the Shanahan. So all that was going on. But just on the field, Daniels came into the NFL as a more advanced passer, period. And that, you talk to anybody, people who scouted both will tell you the exact same thing. I don't think it's not a new statement there. And we saw that with Daniels. He's definitely a more advanced passer, better. Just he's a when he runs, he's not necessarily looking to run first. He's looking to extend the play. Then he happens to run. There were a lot of times with Robert that I felt like one little difference, like you would see early in the Tampa Bay game for Daniels last year, the first one. There are definitely times that, and it was also early in the season too. It wasn't just that game, but early in the season, he'd start to run when his eyes go down and he's starting to run, right? And so maybe you miss something down the field because of it. That's something that Griffin dealt with all season. That's something that Daniels got himself out of quickly early in the season. So just a little thing, it's a subtle thing, but it certainly made a difference. But again, they're just different. And the way players react to them is different. The way their approach is different. And again, Robert is going into his second year was rehabbing, not on the field, working on the game like what you would want. That makes a difference too. So just because X happened to Robert does not mean X is going to happen to Jayden Daniels. So, I just think maybe I don't need to say it, but I do think it's something that bears saying, just bears repeating just how different they are. Like Jayden is not a guy that I don't know. They're different. I don't know how much more that I can say that just with their approach, how they are in the locker room. He and Daniels is a more advanced passer. I do believe if Daniels got hurt, he could survive in the NFL because of his passing ability. So the game makes it there, excuse me, the legs make him way more dynamic and a much more dangerous threat. But his passing acumen, he could survive as a starter in this league. Oh, and one other thing too, like one of the things you notice, and I brought this up a lot of times in the past, is just watching 7-on-7 work and watching how Daniels work in practice, even last year. And you can tell when quarterbacks are struggling. Like sometimes in those 7-on-7s, quarterback may not have anything available, so they'll tuck it and run. You shouldn't be running in 7-on-7s. Occasionally, you might see it happen with there were too many times, even with Robert in his third year or so, you'd see it. And I know guys who play the position were on the sidelines, you'd hear them like, oh, when he starts to run, because it's a sign that there could be a number of things. Could be guys not getting open. It could be maybe you're not reading it right, whatever the reason. I just know that I saw him do it. Whatever the reason, I don't always know because I'm not him. I wasn't in the huddle. I'm not in the film room, etc. You don't see that with Jayden very much. You just don't. And I think some of that is the process for him. One of the strengths for Jayden is the processing. You saw that. I saw that. You saw it last year, but you saw it in the spring that he's getting through. He gets through his reads quickly. That allows you to get to your second and third options in rhythm on time. And if they're open, the ball's going there. Sometimes that ball's going there, even if it's a tight window, because that's what he needs to do. So, anyways, just different. There we go. Now, the next quarterback is CJ Stroud. Just because CJ Stroud had a struggle the second year does not mean Jayden Daniels will struggle the second year. One thing I'll say, we don't know what Jayden Daniels is going to do this year. He could have some tough games. I mean, it is hard to play as well as he did all the time. Just how it is. However, just because Stroud struggled doesn't mean Daniels will. In his second year, Stroud had a terrific, great rookie season. You guys know, you can see the stuff behind me. I like CJ Stroud a lot. I actually thought he'd be a better NFL quarterback than Justin Fields because his passing is really, really good. And he had a terrific rookie season. And that's why for a while last year, you know, I know Bram would be on here. I'd have him on, and he talked about James having the best rookie season ever. Well, CJ Stroud was really good the year before. And early in the year, he had like 14 touchdowns to like one pick, something like that. So he was terrific. Daniel surpassed him last year. But then last year with Stroud, so here's a couple differences between the two. One, they're just different styles of quarterbacks. Daniel's ability to run will always give him a bonus edge, right? Give him a bonus as a quarterback. Because if play breaks down, he can hurt you with his legs. Like if he wanted to, he can rush for 800 and 900 yards every year because he's that talented and that elusive. So that helps, right? For sure. CJ can run, but not like this, not close to that, right? So that was a difference. But then I think the other thing is the infrastructure they have around one another. So let's go back to when Houston set that up. They had a new coach. They had D'Amico Ryan's new coach. They have a new offensive coordinator in Slowick and a rookie quarterback, like defensive minded head coach, new coordinator, rookie quarterback. I don't like that combo. Now, the first year it worked well, but then clearly there were issues last year because they ended up getting rid of Slow. So did they not build on his game? What went wrong? I don't know all the ins and outs. I just know the results. The results weren't good, and the infrastructure maybe just wasn't that sound. We saw it in Chicago too. Defensive minded head coach, rookie quarterback, and a new coordinator. It never makes sense. These guys set it up so much better for Jayden Daniels that I think that's partly why not only he succeeded last year like he did to the level he did, but also why he has a much better chance this year to avoid that quote unquote sophomore slump or even just a downturn. Like there are going to be games where he struggles or is not as good because there are really good teams in this league and they're playing a tougher schedule. They're playing good defenses. They're facing some good pass rushers. Like it may not be magical every game for him. I think you know that. We know that. But I think you look back at over the course of the season, you're going to say like that was a good year um, because of who he is. Now, last year, Stroud, in his first 6 games, he had a QBR, the quarterback rating, of 66.6. Maybe not the best number sequence there, but it is a good QBR because it's out of 100 and it measures the impact on the game. It's more advanced than the passer rating, for example. So, and that's again out of 100. That's a good number. In his last 11 games, it was 39.3. That's more akin to the quarterback play we saw the previous 5 years before Daniels got here in Washington. So clearly there were issues. There were issues with the offensive line. One of those guys is now here in Tunsil. but he was not the issue, right? It was the entire line was the issue. Then again, issues with the offensive coordinator. Well, here they built a strong line ahead well, I think a strong line in front of him. But you also have all these coaches back. You have an experienced play caller in Cliff Kingsbury who knows how to build on the offense. Like his offense last year was his offense has evolved pretty much every year he's been in the NFL. And that is a testament to him. But I also think it's going to be a testament to Daniels, who knows how to then adapt, or not who knows how to continue building on his own game. So that's a big deal, right? To have that experienced play caller, he knows how to adjust to what they can sit there and guess, or not guess, but determine like how will defenses play him this year? How do we then adjust? That's a big deal. So I think that makes a big difference. It's why, like again, just because CJ Stroud struggled, yes, it was his second year, but let's go beyond just a surface level analysis and look into why might this be different with Jayden Daniels. I think part of it is absolutely again, Jayden's skill set I think makes a difference, and then the coaching surrounding him also makes a difference. So that's another reason why I think it's very difficult to just look at that for sure. And listen, Stroud, by all accounts, works hard at it. These guys are really good friends. But I do think that there's a difference in their play and the situations. And again, I go back to like having experienced coaches makes a huge, huge difference. But just because they both had a good rookie year and because quarterback A struggled in his second year doesn't mean quarterback B is going to do the same. So let's not be lazy here. So, anyways, folks, that's two. Now, number three, I think the fact that Daniel's mindset hasn't changed is obviously a huge help. And this is what quarterbacks coach Tavita Pritchard told Nikki Javala and I earlier in the offseason about Daniels and just the way he works.
Because he loves that. I mean, he eats that stuff up, right? Like it's also a part of what makes him special. Is like as talented as he is, like he wants to get better, he wants to improve, he wants to compete. So it's just been fun to be like back in this space.
Daniels is like the one thing I've noticed with him. He loves being part of a team. He likes again, it's the process, the working and all that. I've already talked about, but just being in the locker room, being on the field, that's where he likes best. Some may like the spotlight more. They like being in front of the camera. They like the awards shows. That's not Daniels. Like Daniels, I'm sure if you watch our press conferences, he doesn't necessarily want to be there. It's not because he dislikes us. It's because he doesn't really seek that attention. You talk to him one-on-one in the locker room, he's great, right? It's no problem at all. In a group setting, not his thing. Like I get it. It's fine. And I actually kind of admire them. And you see him at these award shows. He's not the one that's out there, kind of doing whatever. Like he always looks like the guy that, yeah, I'm here, I need to be here, but I kind of rather be somewhere else. And where he'd rather be is working on his game, but he loves being in the locker room, loves being on the field. He's the guy that pushed for they had went and bought like a couple $100 basketball hoop to put in their practice bubble because they had the makeshift locker room in there and they wanted to get a basketball hoop in there. And that was Daniel's idea. He likes all of that. Watching him compete on the field, watching the way he is, the way he laughs, the way he wants to just compete, compete, compete. It's all in the field. So, anyways, that's a big help, right? And he's just way more comfortable in those settings than I think a lot of others that I've seen at that position for sure are. And but they think a big key here too is because of the way he is and because of the way the coaches are and having those experienced coaches again, it allows them to build on his game. And this is one of the things that Pritchard talked about, like one of the things that one of the things he said is you don't want to overthink it with him. You don't want to overdo it with him because you don't have to. There's no need to certainly take apart his game. It's really a lot of times subtle things. And it's funny because I saw someone, I can't remember, it was someone from PFF or something like that, tweeted something about Daniels and showing some plays where it's like, oh, not leading guys or whatever. And it's plays where there was some pressure and he's backing away and he fires the ball, and it's like maybe the ball's a little bit off. He doesn't lead you into any yards after the catch. I get it. I saw those plays. the one thing I'll say on those plays, like he works on that sort of throw where you're having to backpedal and just whip it out, right? So sometimes it's going to lead to maybe no little to no yak, maybe a completion, but what you do there is you're avoiding a hit as well. So one of the things you want to do is take care of yourself. So, anyways, I don't know and bring it up because some of what they want to talk about is his footwork and is that something was that some an example of that maybe not because the footwork is really tied into the progression of the play. I think so I'm not sure really why I brought that up, to be honest, but I did because it's something I saw and I noticed and I thought about like, were those good examples and was it indicative of anything? But I also saw him work on that type of throw during practices where where you're having to backpedal under pressure, get the ball out, avoid the hit because he does get hit and you don't want to see him get hit a ton. Anyways, but the footwork is something that I know when I had Ryan Porter on earlier this offseason, that's something they talked about working on for sure, adding to the number of drops he can do, or just clean, working on the drops, right? On a variety of drops, because you want to have that variety because sometimes the defense can time it up based on your drops. And Pritchard said that was one of the things that they were talking about too, was the footwork and just work, cleaning up some of those drops, not reinventing his game. There's no need for that. But, again, don't overthink. But this is what Pritchard said he had to say, this is what Pritchard had to say about what they were working on with Daniels.
Like his footwork. Like one thing that I know to be true, that's not a state secret, is like, okay, when his feet are right, meaning like he's taking the correct drop, right, he's taking it at the right speed, like good things are going to happen, right? Yeah. Like because he's going through the process. So some of it is just grooving that, some of it's just giving him reps of doing it, but it's also like really defining, okay, well, what is the drop on this one? Like, what are you going to do? So some of it's, and we're able to gravitate towards his preferences a little more now in year two, right? Because some of it, he came in was like, I'll take whatever drop you guys tell me to take, Yeah. But I also like to lean on those guys a little bit of like, well, what is your preference here? Like, what do you like on this particular route?
And I know. So there you go. That's what it, again, maybe I didn't need to talk about a lot of this because I think you guys know by this point that Jayden Daniels is different. But I do think we're at the point of the year where people are going to start talking about more about him and the second year and what could transpire and why maybe. Will it be like this? Will it be like this quarterback? Will it be like this guy? Well, Jayden Daniels is different, and he's different than any other quarterback that I've covered for sure, and just more advanced at this stage in a lot of ways. So I think that will help him out this year. Again, who knows what the heck's going to happen with the team, with him. But I'm not going in there thinking that, because quarterback X did this, then that's going to apply to Daniels. That's not fair to him, and I don't think that'll be the case. Anyway, folks, that's it for me. I'll be back on Tuesday with another episode. So I appreciate you tuning in. I'll talk to you next time.